Hey everybody, it is tea time with the diva. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, because we're gonna get into it. This tea time is dedicated to a horrible Texas doctor who did the unthinkable, lied to his patients. You know how dreadful. Lied and told them they had one condition when really they was perfectly healthy. And as a result of lying to them, he ordered medications. They was on medication after medication after medication that ended up destroying their bodies in their lives. He lied to the tune of $118 million. He defrauded insurance companies of $118 million, and his employees were let me see, they was here on work visas. So therefore, he was able to intimidate them and lie to them and force them to do his dirty deeds. Let me go ahead and share a screen. There's nothing worse than a lying doctor. That's why I think, yes, we need to go to doctors. Yes, there are some really good doctors out there telling you the truth, but you also got to try to participate in your own healthcare plan. So, a Texas doctor who falsely diagnosed healthy patients to fund his lavish lifestyle in a $118 million scheme is sentenced to 10 years in prison. And 10 years is nothing. I think he really should have got more. I will tell you my own personal story really quickly. I am 5 feet tall. Okay, you want to say 5 feet tall, 5 feet short, but I'm exactly 5 feet and I weigh 156 pounds. I have been actively, I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. I've been actively just going to nutritionists, drinking water, eating right, exercising, doing everything I can to get this weight off, right? The doctor says I need to lose about 30 pounds. So, but there are several doctors, including the doctor that told me I needed to lose weight, wanting to push Ozempic and other weight loss medications on me. Never suggested up front that I see a nutritionist, that I try to think about the reason why I'm just snacking all day or I drink my calories. And when I say drink, you know, I'm a Starbucks queen. I have sent significantly, when I tell you significantly carved Starbucks out of my life. But either way, you know, I drink calories easy, these sugary drinks, which is extremely bad for you. So, you know, instead of them talking to me up front saying, why don't you try to exercise? Why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And then come back and let's see how you're doing in a couple months, couple weeks, or whatever. No, automatically they was ready to write that prescription for Ozempic and, you know, Wegovy or whatever other weight loss medication they have out there. The thing about these medications, and some people, listen, they need them. So I'm not here to promote like, oh, don't see a doctor and medications aren't needed. They are in a lot of cases, but there are also cases where I think modifications to the person's eating lifestyle and to the fact that they maybe need to just exercise more can be prescribed over just saying, you know what, go ahead and shoot yourself up with this needle, so to speak. And those particular doctors that are out for self gain, I think 10 years is nothing. I think he should have got more. Excuse me, dealing with the allergies, guys. But anyway, let's continue. So, a Texas doctor who falsely diagnosed his healthy patients to fund his lavish lifestyle with private jets and luxury sports cars as a part of a $118 million healthcare scheme was sentenced to a decade behind bars. He should have got more. Rheumatologist George defrauded patients and insurance companies, purposely diagnosing people with rheumatoid arthritis despite them not having the lifelong incurable condition. Can you imagine? Like, how do you even sleep at night? Where's your conscience? Zamora 68 and good. So he'll be 78 when he gets out of jail. And to me, he should have spent his rest of his life in jail. But that's another story. 68 masterminded the scheme out of his Mission, Texas office with the help of staffers who were abused and threatened by his status, the Department of Justice said, because he got people who were, I guess, not citizens of the United States. The disgraced healthcare provider led patients to believe they were suffering from chronic illnesses and they would pay unnecessary and costly treatments and testing that included a variety of injections, infusions, x-rays, MRIs, and other procedures. You know, this dirty dog, at the very least, if he was going to lie and say they had this condition, when it came to these injections and these infusions, he should have at the very least been maybe injecting them with saline, just, you know, not the real medication, and further destroying their lives with his lies. The regimens included the administration of toxic medications that had potentially harmful and even deadly side effects. Zamora also falsified medical records of his patients to secure insurance funds from providers by falsifying buying medical. He defrauded 28 million from Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. Other doctors in the Rio Grande Valley testified against Zamora during the 25-day trial, revealing the surprising findings when they treated hundreds of patients believing they had RA. For most patients, it was obvious they did not have rheumatoid arthritis, one rheumatologist testified. This is a picture of the room where he kept the medical records, where they said it was full of termites, rodents, pee, urine. It was disgusting. The dangerous treatment Zamora prescribed caused patients to develop debilitating side effects, including strokes, necrosis of the jawbone, hair loss, and liver damage. And for that, he only got 10 years? Unbelievable. Other patients developed pain so severe that they were left unable to perform simple everyday tasks, constantly being in bed and being unable to get up from bed alone and being pumped with medication. I didn't feel like my life had any meaning, one patient told the court. A mother compared her child to a lab rat with the amount of medication Zamora prescribed. The corrupt caregiver used his position to hire foreign staffers who needed employment to remain in the country on their J-1 visas and wouldn't question his authority unless they risked being fired and deported. That's his private jet that he purchased with the money he got through the insurance schemes, calling himself an Emancia. Zamora built a work atmosphere of fear and authority. Zamora would use his employees as models for ultrasounds that he would include as part of a fabricated missing patients file if were audited by an insurer. Thousands of patient files were stored in a separate shed, ravaged by rodents and termites, most documents covered in feces and urine. If he was questioned on missing patient records, the doctor would order his staffers to make files appear. Zamora used the millions and taken to build an expansive real estate portfolio, complete with 13 separate properties in the U.S. and Mexico, purchased a 2-engine plane and a Maserati. Dr. Zamora funded his luxurious lifestyle for 2 decades by traumatizing his patients, abusing his employees, lying to insurance, and stealing taxpayer money. The Department of Justice's Criminal Division head Matthew said that his deprived conduct represents a profile betrayal of trust towards vulnerable patients who depend on care and integrity from their doctors. Zamora was convicted of 1 count of conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud, 7 counts of healthcare fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to obstruct justice. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison in order to forfeit $28 million in his real estate portfolio, jet, and Maserati. Today's sentence is not just a punishment, it's a warning. Medical professionals who harm Americans for personal enrichment will be aggressively pursued and held accountable to protect our citizens in the public, the district attorney said. Listen, let me tell you this. I think all of these doctors that are even supplying these celebrities with prescriptions in an alias name and prescriptions that they probably don't necessarily need, I think all of them need to go down. This is horrific. This is terrible, and something needs to be done. We heard about the doctor in the Michael Jackson case. You know, Prince was pacing outside of a pharmacy waiting for a prescription because he was hooked on prescription medications. And later that day, they found him unalive, like dead. I'm sorry, I'm saying unalive. He was dead, OD'd. What's the doctor and the guy from Friends? His name is slipping my mind right now. Had doctors supplying this ketamine and laughing at him, laughing at the fact that he was paying all of this money to get this ketamine from them. It's extremely sad. It's not right. These doctors took an oath. And to me, if a doctor is caught doing something as such, like this particular doctor, like the doctor with Michael Jackson, like Matthew Perry, like the doctor with the guy from Friends, Matthew Perry, I think they should spend the rest of their lives in jail because they took an oath and they had a higher duty to do right by people. Listen, I'm glad they caught this guy, but it was 2 decades of him doing this fraud. So imagine how many patients' lives he destroyed by lying about what condition they had, rheumatoid arthritis, and they didn't have it at all. Listen, guys, chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Everybody, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this doctor. See you on the next video.